Well, have you ever wished you could create an actual recipe for happiness? You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Ooh, you're happy. Well, our next guest did just that. He created a 10-week program that sets you up for a lifetime of continued action steps that can keep you feeling well and healthy, both physically and emotionally. We are pleased to welcome Rick Schaefer here to the Balancing Act. Good morning to you.
Thank you for inviting me, Daniel.
I am so glad you're here because I was so impressed with what you've done so far in your life. 14 years experience of studying personal development, success in laws of attraction, 19 years experience as a physician in the OR. I mean, you are so well versed, Rick.
Well, you know, I started out really wanting to devote my life to helping people. That's why most people wind up in medicine. And as I went through that career, I realized I wanted to help people in a deeper, more profound way. So.
Now, is that where Extreme Thought Makeover came from?
Exactly. And so much of it, Danielle, was my own process of trying to figure out what I really wanted my life to be, what my mission statement was going to be. And I think you're familiar with that in your own life, that making a transition like that is challenging.
It is challenging, and I think a lot of our viewers can relate to that because one of the things we were talking about off camera is I went through a very challenging time recently where I made a career transition from hard news to coming to the Balancing Act. And one of the things you said is, you know, there are a lot of people dealing with that kind of circumstance. I know you went through something similar. How can we turn that into a positive experience and not be so fearful?
Yeah, well, it's tricky because it's all about the way that you think. It's about the balance between worry and positive and negative thinking. And we all know, well, just think positive, right? Look on the bright side. The cup is half full. But you can't just do that. You need to know how.
It's because it's easy to say that.
Yes, exactly.
But how do you practice that?
Yeah. And that's what I found in my process. I found tools. I found tricks to get myself to think positive. And so I took all those steps and all those daily habits and put them into this book.
You know, you also talk about falling in love with yourself, and you say that will actually help empower you to be the authentic you to those around you. I mean, I like myself. What do you mean by falling in love with yourself?
It sounds pretty wild, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's really so profound because you can always take it to a deeper level. And we know that we can't give away anything that we don't truly possess for ourselves. And it's based on appreciation and acceptance. And I don't think we get taught a lot of that, you know, in our upbringing, in our schools and that sort of thing. And so that whole acceptance issue is huge. And the book is just, it's really 37 versions of that, of acceptance and appreciation.
And you know, that's the other thing that I find interesting is you say 37 days to maximum life, Extreme Thought Makeover. You list a lot of tips in the book. And for our viewers out there who may be going through a tough time and may need those affirmations, what are some of the most important ones that if a viewer wants to take that away right now, today, and start utilizing this, what would you say?
Oh, that's a great question. There's so many to choose from, but I think my favorites, the ones that really fall into the category of that acceptance and the self-love issues, are really writing down points of appreciation.
Yeah.
And personal attributes is a great place to start. Pick out one thing that you really like about yourself. I'm bold. I'm a risk taker. Whatever it is. Take one physical characteristic and write that down on a piece of paper. I love my wrists, you know? And then pick one thing out in your environment or in another person and go, you know, my husband or my spouse, I love this one characteristic about him, that he's so independent, you know? And you will not believe how the energy shifts, how your thoughts shift, and as a habit, it enriches your life hugely.
You know, I love that because it reminds me a lot of the laws of attraction where you kind of put out what you get. I mean, you have to give to get, and if you're putting out negativity, what are you going to get back?
Exactly.
Negativity. And if you put out positivity, which is what you're talking about, you're going to get that back. And I think, you know, a lot of people, including myself for a period of time, miss that.
Yeah. It's so fun. There's so many lessons in here that I really reflect back on the process that I went through. There's things about putting blank canvases on your wall. There's things about carrying pictures of your kids when they were really little in your wallet.
Yeah.
All these little almost like tricks, where you can
Yeah.
trick yourself into thinking positive, and they work like a charm. It's really wonderful.
You know, that's a great point, because when I am having a downtime, I think about those boys. I think about my kids, and that actually helps me put out that positivity that we talked about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is a really good book. It really is. Extreme Thought Makeover. Rick, it was so great having you here this morning on The Balancing Act.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, anytime. And if you'd like more information about Rick Schaefer or the book here, please visit his website at rickschaefermd.com.